Welcome, fellow Stardust. Are you ready for a scare? I see you've come back for more. If you're new here, buckle up. And thank you all for joining me today. My name is DeRay, aka Rainbow Fright, lover of all things dark, creepy, and weird. Today's film review will be on horror, The Hills Have Eyes.
You folks go right to California and have a good trip. You folks stay on the main road now, you hear? Stay on the main road.
Even today, this film is hard to watch when you put yourself in the characters' shoes. The horror and the terror in the film make it hard not to cringe. This is Wes Craven's second film that he wrote and directed, the first one being The Last House on the Left. Wes really didn't want to make another horror film because of how controversial his first one was, and because he felt that it was a bit constraining. But then new producer and friend Peter Locke liked The Last House on the Left and really wanted to make a horror exploitation film just like it. With Wes having a hard time finding producers to fund a film that wasn't bloody or violent, and with Peter Locke offering up the money, he had no other choice but to make another horror exploitation film or make nothing at all. This is my first Wes Craven film that I am reviewing, although the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is my favorite work from Wes. But I've been holding off on doing those reviews because I'm figuring out how exactly I want to present those. And this film definitely makes it onto my personal list of the top 100 films that you must watch. This cult classic still makes you squirm 40 years later, and I think it's because of how grounded in reality it is. This is true horror, violence between humans, between families. We have the Carter family, who is stranded in the middle of a desert with no connection to civilization, leaving them vulnerable to the desert's elements and its creatures. These people who live in the hills have been forgotten and left to their own devices, living off the desert land. As a result, they have become cannibals, and any passersby who end up stranded become their next victims. And the Carters are no exception. They're warned at the beginning of the film by the gas attendant at the quintessential creepy gas station to stay on the main road. But Big Boss Bob does what he wants to do. The remake of this film is also on my list of 100 films that you must watch. It's one of the few remakes that's actually way better than the original. They don't totally change everything up like a lot of remakes like to do. It was almost a shot-for-shot remake, but anything that was altered or added just made the film that much better. The only film I can think of off the top of my head that was a true shot-for-shot remake was Psycho. That one is a really fun one to watch from 1998. Next week, I'll review The Hills Have Eyes remake from 2006. Wes Craven was actually one of the producers and Alexander Aja was the director. So because Peter Locke really wanted something like The Last House on the Left, you really get those vibes. They are very similar films. Also, being inspired by Tobe Hooper's film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we have a group of people who are in the middle of nowhere being hunted by a family of cannibals where their screams can be heard by no one. As a matter of fact, the art director on The Hills Have Eyes, Robert A. Burns, was also the art director on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He used a lot of the same props, like the bones and trinkets that were used for the jewelry and set decor. Star Michael Berryman actually needed no special effects makeup since he was born with 26 birth defects that left him looking the way that he does. He's got over 100 acting credits, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is one of them. His look made him highly sought after by horror filmmakers after the release of this film.
What are your defensive capabilities at this time? They'll just sit nice.
We're going through that wash. They'll never see us coming.
And what I mean by this film being grounded in reality, making it that much more scary, is the fact that we have people going after people. I like the monster and paranormal genres, but the psychological, killer, and gore genres really get me because it's observing the breakdown of humanity in a person or group of people, which is always more terrifying than any creature. However, The Craft, The Haunting, Poltergeist, another Tobe Hooper film, are all on my top 100 list. As far as my favorite subgenres go, my favorite are witches and occult, paranoia, phobia, zombies, slasher, and torture. But there is no subgenre that I don't like or won't watch. I really do like them all. This film falls under the killer genre as well as a little bit of the monster genre, and I say just a little bit because they are human just with physical defects. Its subgenres would be slasher and cannibalism. These next few sentences might be a bit of a spoiler, so if you want to skip ahead, go to this timestamp. For its time, a lot of the things that Wes was putting on screen were really taboo. The movie has baby napping, animal killing, the use of a family member's corpse to save yourself, and human flesh eating. Wes even toyed with the idea of killing the baby, but a lot of the cast and crew members said that they would walk off set if he went through with it. When they were done with the film, it was given an X rating. So to get it into the theaters, he had to take out a lot of the scenes in order to get it down to an R rating.
Did you kill them all like I told you to? Did you kill them all like I said?
The budget for the film was between $275,000 and $325,000, which seemed like a lot to Wes at the time because on his first film he was only given a budget of $90,000. But $325,000 is still a really low budget. And his crew doubled to 15, so he really felt like he was being given a lot. At first, the crew wasn't too excited about shooting in the desert where the highs would get over 120 degrees and the lows would get between 40 and 30 degrees. But after a couple of weeks of shooting, they felt like they had something special on their hands. So they worked through the rigorous 12 to 14 hour days with the belief that they were creating something spectacular. And they did create something quite spectacular. When Wes was trying to come up with an idea for the script, he went to the library and went to the murder and mayhem section. There he found the legend of Alexander Sawney Bean. Now I say legend because many historians don't believe that this story is more than fiction, but it has been adopted as Scottish folklore. The myth of Sawney Bean says that he and his wife Agnes had 8 sons and 6 daughters, who then went on to produce for them 18 grandsons and 14 granddaughters, obviously the products of incest. This family of cannibals was said to attack passersby, dismember their bodies, eat them, and then put unused remains into barrels to pickle them.
Baby's fat. You fat. Fat and juicy.
Locals would recall body parts being washed up onto the shore, but would attribute it to animal attacks. This family of cannibals was said to claim up to 1,000 lives. They lived in a cave at night that would be hidden during the day by the high tide. When they were finally caught, the men had their hands, feet, and their third leg chopped off and were left to bleed to death. The women were all burned at stake since it was believed that Agnes was a witch. The irony of this story is that the prosecutors ended up being just as savage and evil as the cannibals were. The message being that everyone has the capacity to become savage when pushed to that breaking point. And this is what Wes tried to convey in the film, along with shedding light on class conflict, racism, and other social injustices that we face in our country.
Let's go.
Well, at least it's cooler now. Oh, bring some plates, would you, Bob?
Sure.
It is cooler, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Now we'll all freeze to death.
The Carters represent the haves, while the cannibals represent the have-nots. And the have-nots are also representing anybody who is being oppressed, such as Black people, Indigenous people, queer people, poor people, etc. It's easy to be civilized like the Carters when you have money and all the things, but it's also very easy to become a bloodthirsty cannibal and evil when left out in the desert your whole life and with none of the things. The only thing that truly bothered me with this film was the sound. It really needed some work. It's not just a little loud in some parts, it's like way beyond the red. Just terrible. The sound is where they might have cut some corners because of the low budget. The budget was so low that some of the cast even did their own makeup, but the soundtrack definitely earned it back some points. I really enjoyed the plucking of the strings. It created a little tingling on the back of my neck. The Hills Have Eyes gets 4.5 rainbow skulls out of 5. This one is on Shudder, Amazon Prime, AMC Plus, and Mubi. Thank you again for joining me today, fellow Stardust. I hope I see you on Saturday. I won't be uploading a True Crime and Nails video like you might expect. I'll be uploading something else, but I will be returning with another True Crime and Nails episode on July 3rd. And please like, share, and comment if you enjoyed this video. And if you want to join the Rainbow Fright Freight Train, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell. That way you'll get notified every Thursday and Saturday when I upload more videos like this. All right, y'all. Peace.
Baby's fat. You fat. That juicy.